Imagine having your life turned upside down in an instant, caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. For Jasmine, a simple day in the park became a nightmare. Wrongfully arrested, humiliated, and treated like a criminal, her only crime was being in the wrong place at the wrong time. But what if justice wasn't a distant dream, but something she could reach out and grab? What if the truth could finally be uncovered, but at a cost? This is the story of a woman who refused to stay silent. A story about one person's fight for truth and a system that tried to silence her. Before we dive into today's story, let us know in the comments where in the world are you watching this video from. We'd love to hear from you. On any given day, it could be just another quiet afternoon. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, and people are going about their daily routines. But sometimes, in the blink of an eye, everything changes. That's exactly what happened to Jasmine. Jasmine, 7 months pregnant, was simply out for a walk in her local park, trying to enjoy the peace and quiet. She was minding her own business when the world around her suddenly became chaotic. But what was the cause of this chaos? A simple misunderstanding, a misstep, or something much darker? Jasmine had no idea that a small altercation, a mere request from a police officer to move off the grass, would escalate into something she could never have imagined. In that moment, she was unaware that her life, her very safety, was about to be put in jeopardy. As she was handcuffed and escorted away, her only thought was, "Why?" A bystander shouts, "Why are they arresting her? She's pregnant. What's going on?" Jasmine's story is more than just about one woman's arrest. It's a story that resonates with many who feel powerless in the face of authority. For Jasmine, this was the last thing she expected on a peaceful afternoon. But for some, it was an all too familiar tale. The pattern of racial profiling, systemic injustice, and unchecked power is something far too many know too well. Jasmine told, "Please, I don't know what's going on. I wasn't doing anything wrong. You have to let me go. I'm pregnant." "She's pregnant. She's just trying to walk. Let her go." As the officers continued to move forward, no one seemed to stop and ask the questions that mattered. Why was Jasmine being treated this way? What was the real cause of her arrest? Were the actions of these officers truly justified, or was something else at play? And this is where the story takes a turn no one expected, because in the chaos that followed, one thing became clear. Jasmine wasn't the only one who needed answers. Enter Police Chief Williams, a man known for his level-headed approach to justice. He's seen it all: crime, corruption, and the pressures of keeping peace. But when he arrived on the scene, he was faced with a dilemma. Was this simply a case of officers doing their job, or had something deeper, something more troubling, been set in motion? As the chief steps onto the scene, the air is thick with uncertainty. Jasmine's future now lies in his hands, and one question looms larger than any other. Will the truth be uncovered? Will Jasmine get the justice she deserves? Or will this moment become just another tragic chapter in a story of systemic failure? This is just the beginning of a story that no one saw coming, a story of power, injustice, and the fight for what's right. At this moment, Jasmine knew her life had changed forever. The tension in the air was palpable. The crowd around her was growing, but none of them had any idea what had truly led to this moment. No one could understand why a pregnant woman, simply out for a walk, was being treated this way. But as the officers spoke among themselves, it became clear that something wasn't right. Officer Miller, into radio: "Yes, we've got her. I need transport. Code 47, public disturbance, possible resistance, we'll need backup here." Jasmine told, "I wasn't doing anything wrong. I don't understand. I was just walking. You can't do this. I'm pregnant. Please, someone help me." Bystander 1 shouting, "She's pregnant, man." "What the hell are you doing?" Officer Miller told, "Step back. This is an official arrest. You're obstructing justice." Jasmine had no idea why she was being arrested. No warning, no explanation. She had been out enjoying a peaceful walk when the police had approached her, asking her to move from a small section of grass in the park. The next thing she knew, she was surrounded by officers and placed in cuffs. She couldn't fathom why this was happening to her. What had she done that was so wrong? Jasmine told, "Excuse me, officer." "Is something wrong?" Officer told, "You're on restricted property, move along." Jasmine told, "I'm just walking, I didn't realize this was restricted." Officer, interrupting, "Just move along, ma'am, you're causing a disturbance." Jasmine told, "Hey, what are you doing? Let go of me." Jasmine, panicking, "Let me go, I didn't do anything, I'm pregnant, please." What no one knew, what no one could see, was the real reason behind Jasmine's escalating panic. She wasn't just a woman being treated unfairly, she was a woman at her most vulnerable, carrying life within her, and in that moment, her distress was more than just the fear of an unjust arrest. It was the fear that her child might be in danger too. Bystander 2 yelling, "She's pregnant! What are you doing? You can't treat her like this!" Officer Turner to Officer Miller quietly, "She's getting out of control. Should we call for backup?" Officer Miller told, "Yeah, just in case. She's resisting arrest. We need to get her under control." But what Jasmine didn't realize in her state of panic was that the officers weren't just dealing with a disturbance. They were now dealing with an escalating situation. A woman in distress, a pregnant woman, surrounded by a growing crowd of concerned onlookers. Officer Miller told, "Move it, you're coming with us." Jasmine told, "Please, I'm pregnant. Let go of me, this isn't right." Jasmine's protests fell on deaf ears. The officers were unwavering, their decision already made, but it was at that exact moment, as the tension reached its peak, that something unexpected happened. Someone in power was about to step in. Chief Williams, known for his level-headedness and his commitment to justice, had been informed of the situation. He knew this wasn't just another arrest, and when he stepped out of his car and walked toward the scene, Jasmine's future, as well as the fate of the officers involved, was about to take an unexpected turn. As the chief walked into the storm, the question became clear. Would the truth be revealed, or would this injustice continue unchecked? To understand the weight of Jasmine's situation, we need to look back. A few hours earlier, before the sirens and flashing lights, before the shouts and the fear, Jasmine was just like any other young woman enjoying a quiet afternoon. A simple walk in the park, the sunlight warming her skin, the cool breeze carrying the scent of fresh flowers. It was supposed to be a peaceful day, but it wasn't. Jasmine was 7 months pregnant, a milestone she had waited for with a mixture of excitement and anxiety. She didn't know what kind of mother she would be yet, but she was determined to give her child a life filled with love and safety. Like any expecting mother, she took time to care for herself. Moments like these, where she could sit in peace and just breathe, were rare and precious. Officer told, "Excuse me, ma'am, you can't be on this section of the grass, it's restricted." Jasmine, gently, "Oh, I didn't know, I'm just walking through, I'll move, no problem." Jasmine told, "I'm really sorry, I didn't mean any harm, I'll go ahead and leave." Officer told, "You need to move now, you're causing a disturbance." Jasmine, confused and calm, "Wait, causing a disturbance? I'm just walking. I didn't know I was breaking any rules." Officer told, "I said move, now." Jasmine told, "Is there a problem?" "I'm really just trying to get some fresh air. There's no need to." Jasmine told, "Hey, what are you doing? Let go of me." Jasmine, panicking, "Please, I didn't do anything. I'm pregnant. I'm not causing any trouble." Officer told, "You need to calm down, you're under arrest for public disturbance." Jasmine told, "Please, I didn't do anything wrong, I'm pregnant, you can't arrest me." Officer told, "That's enough, you're coming with me." Jasmine's plea for mercy fell on deaf ears. In that moment, she realized something chilling. The badge, the uniform, the authority, none of it cared about her pregnancy. None of it cared about her humanity. She was just another name on a list, just another body to be processed, but she wasn't ready to accept that. Not yet. As she was pushed toward the car, Jasmine's thoughts raced faster than she could catch them. This wasn't how she had imagined her day going. This wasn't how she had imagined becoming a mother. And as the cold metal of the handcuffs bit into her wrists, a new fear began to settle in her heart. What if this wasn't just about a misunderstanding? What if this wasn't just a case of a pregnant woman getting caught in a moment of bad luck? What if there was something deeper at play here, something much darker? As the situation escalated, no one knew that the key to everything, the answer to the chaos, the injustice, was about to walk into the middle of it all. He wasn't just a police officer, he was the man tasked with maintaining order, with ensuring that the law was always fair, always just. And in that moment, Jasmine's fate was about to fall into his hands. Chief Williams had been called to the scene after receiving a report of an escalating disturbance. When he heard the details of Jasmine's arrest, something didn't sit right. The report claimed she was resisting, but the idea of an unarmed, pregnant woman being arrested for a simple park dispute left him unsettled. He needed to see the situation with his own eyes, and when he did, he knew he had to act. Officer Miller told Chief this woman was causing a disturbance. We gave her a warning, but she refused to comply. Chief Williams told Miller, "Step aside." Chief Williams didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. His presence commanded authority, and in that moment he knew that the right course of action wasn't about exerting power, but about listening. He needed to understand what had truly happened, to hear Jasmine's side of the story before any decisions were made. Chief Williams told Ma'am, "I need you to calm down. I'm the police chief. I'm here to get to the bottom of this." What happened? Jasmine told, "I didn't do anything. I was just walking. I didn't even know I was in the wrong spot." The officer came up to me, and before I could say anything, he grabbed my arm. I told him I was pregnant, and Chief Williams, softly, "I understand. You're not in trouble here. I'm going to make sure this is handled properly." Chief Williams, sternly, "Miller, I want you to explain exactly what happened here. Did you witness any resistance?" Officer Miller, hesitant, "She was resisting. She was pulling away when we tried to escort her to the car. We had no choice but to..." Chief Williams told, "Had no choice." "Miller, did you feel threatened by her? Did she pose any danger to you or the public? Tell me, did she give you any reason to escalate this situation?" Officer Miller, defensively, "It wasn't just about the resistance. She was causing a scene, yelling. People were recording, making it worse." Chief Williams, interrupting sharply, "That's not an excuse. A scene, people recording. That's not why we're here. You're supposed to uphold the law with integrity, Miller, not escalate situations based on your discomfort." Chief Williams, calmly, "I'm sorry this happened to you. You've been treated unfairly. I'm going to make sure this is looked into thoroughly. I need you to stay calm, all right? I'll take care of this from here." As Chief Williams moved swiftly to assess the situation, the atmosphere shifted. The crowd, which had been thick with anger and confusion, now seemed to breathe a collective sigh of relief. The presence of someone willing to listen, to see past the surface and understand the truth, was enough to quell the storm, for now. Chief Williams, to another officer, "Release her from the cuffs. Get her checked out. Make sure she's all right." With the handcuffs off, Jasmine took a deep breath. For the first time since the incident began, she felt a sense of relief, a glimmer of hope. Chief Williams had stepped in, but even as he worked to de-escalate the situation, the question lingered in the air. What would happen to Officer Miller? Would this be swept under the rug, or would the truth come to light? Jasmine told thank you for believing me. In that moment, Jasmine knew she had been heard, but the battle wasn't over yet. The real question remained. Would the system stand up for her, or would it bury the truth in favor of protecting its own? As Chief Williams walked toward the epicenter of the storm, the sound of his boots hitting the pavement was the only sound that could be heard, each step punctuating the gravity of what was about to unfold. Officer Miller stood in the midst of it all, clearly rattled by the chief's sudden presence. It was clear that the balance of power had shifted and the moment of reckoning had arrived. Chief Williams told Miller, "I need you to explain to me what happened here. Step away from the crowd, now." There was no room or hesitation now. The truth was in the open, and it was clear that Chief Williams wasn't going to let the situation slide. He was here to find out exactly what had gone wrong and whether the actions taken that day were justified. But Officer Miller wasn't ready for this moment. He knew the stakes were high, and as the chief's eyes bore into him, a flicker of guilt crossed his face. Officer Miller told, She was causing a scene, Chief. She refused to move when I told her to, and when I tried to escort her off the property, she resisted. She was yelling, making things worse. I had no choice but to arrest her." Chief Williams told, "Did she threaten you, Miller? Did she assault you in any way? Was there any reason to escalate this situation? Tell me, did she give you any cause to arrest her?" Officer Miller, voice trembling, trying to justify himself. No, she didn't threaten me, but she was making a scene. The crowd was getting louder and she wouldn't listen. She was being difficult." Bystander 1, angrily, "She's pregnant, man. You don't just arrest someone like that. What the hell is wrong with you?" Chief Williams told, "I understand your frustration, but right now, we're going to focus on the facts. Miller, I'll ask you again. Did she pose a threat to you or anyone else here? Were the actions you took today justified?" Officer Miller told she was resisting. She pulled away from me when I tried to guide her to the car. She wouldn't comply. I had no choice. Chief Williams told, "You don't get to escalate a situation because you're uncomfortable or because you want to show who's in charge. You don't get to justify treating someone like that, especially a pregnant woman. You should have handled this differently, Miller, much differently." Miller's justification crumbled in the face of the chief's scrutiny. The truth was beginning to surface. It wasn't about resisting arrest. It wasn't about the crowd. It wasn't even about the supposed disturbance. It was about one thing, an unjustified use of power, and Chief Williams wasn't going to let that pass unchecked. Jasmine's heart raced as she watched the scene unfold before her. For the first time in what felt like forever, she allowed herself to hope that this nightmare would finally end. But the question lingered in the back of her mind. Would it be enough? Could one officer's wrong decision be undone, or would the system, as it often did, protect its own? Chief Williams, addressing the crowd confidently. "Listen up, everyone. I'm Chief Williams, and I'll be investigating what happened here today. No one is above the law, not me, not the officers you see here. What happened today will be reviewed thoroughly, and justice will be served. No one should ever be treated unfairly." The chief's words echoed through the park, a promise of accountability, a beacon of hope in a situation fraught with injustice. But even as he spoke, the tension wasn't over, not yet. The fight for justice wasn't just about what happened in this park. It was about something much larger, the battle for fairness, the fight to be seen, to be heard, to be respected. The confrontation wasn't just between the officers and the public. It was about power, control, and who gets to decide what is fair. In this moment, Chief Williams had taken a stand, but as the crowd slowly dispersed, a new question loomed. How far would the investigation go? Would this truly lead to change, or would it fade like so many others before it? As the chief disappeared into the distance, the fight for justice wasn't over. It had just begun. As the sun set, the calm after the storm seemed almost too quiet. But inside the walls of the police station, the storm was just beginning. Chief Williams had promised to investigate, to uncover the truth. He'd stepped into the spotlight and called for accountability, but the deeper he dug, the more complex the situation became. This wasn't just about an unjust arrest anymore, something far more sinister was at play. The report was the first piece of the puzzle. A timestamp discrepancy in the security footage, something no one had caught before, but as the chief scrutinized it, something nagged at him. There was more to this than just a simple mistake. He knew it wasn't a coincidence. Chief Williams told, "I need to speak with Officer Ramirez." "Now, Officer Ramirez told you called for me, Chief?" Chief Williams told, "I need you to pull up all the surveillance footage from the park incident, everything. Make sure you get the angle where Jasmine was first approached by Officer Miller. I think we missed something." Officer Ramirez told, "Wait a minute, there's something off here." Chief Williams told, "Who's that?" "That's not one of the officers involved in the initial call." Officer Ramirez told, "I don't know, I've never seen that guy before, but he's definitely giving Miller directions. Look at his body language, it's almost like he's orchestrating the whole thing." Williams told, "Find out who that officer is." Now, Sergeant Kyle Turner, a name that had never come up in any of the previous investigations. But now, with the piece of the puzzle falling into place, it was clear that this wasn't just an isolated incident. Turner was more than just a bystander. He was a key player in what was beginning to look like a coordinated attempt to cover something up. Turner's role in this was becoming more apparent by the second. But the question that burned in Chief Williams' mind wasn't just about Turner's involvement in Jasmine's arrest. It was about how deep this went. Was he acting alone, or was there a larger conspiracy at play, one that stretched further than just a single arrest? Chief Williams told Sergeant Turner, "We need to talk." Sergeant Turner told, "Chief, what can I do for you? Is this about the incident in the park earlier today?" Chief Williams told, "I know you were involved in Jasmine's arrest. I know you were in the park, giving Officer Miller directions. I want to know why." Sergeant Turner told, I don't know what you're talking about, Chief. I wasn't involved in any—" Chief Williams, interrupting steely-eyed. "You were there. I saw you on the footage. You were talking to Miller. And now we have a serious problem, Turner. You've been caught in the act, and I need you to start telling me the truth. Why was Jasmine treated like this? What was your role in all of it?" Sergeant Turner told it was a setup, Chief. "It wasn't just about an arrest. We were ordered to handle her that way, to intimidate her. They thought she was trouble." Chief Williams told, "Who ordered you, Turner?" "Who's behind this?" Sergeant Turner told, I can't say. They'll come after me, Chief, but I can tell you this much. This goes higher than you think." The twist was revealed, but the battle was far from over. The truth had been uncovered, but at what cost? Chief Williams now stood at a crossroads. What was his next move? Would he expose the conspiracy, risking everything for justice, or would he find himself swept up in the very system he had sworn to protect? The truth had finally come to light, but with it a new set of questions began to swirl in Chief Williams' mind. Sergeant Turner had confessed to orchestrating Jasmine's arrest, but not without hinting at something much darker lying beneath the surface. Who else was involved? What exactly had they planned? And how deep did the conspiracy run? These weren't just questions of policy or procedure anymore, they were questions of survival. Chief Williams told, "I need to see the mayor. Now it's urgent." "Mayor, we need to talk. I've uncovered something much bigger than we first realized. It's going to shake this entire department to its core." Mayor told, "Go on, Chief." As Chief Williams recounted everything he had discovered, Turner's involvement, the mysterious figures behind the scenes, the systematic intimidation, it became clear that the web was far more complicated than he could have imagined. The more he revealed, the more he felt the tension creeping in, like a noose tightening around his neck. He wasn't just questioning one officer anymore, He was questioning the very fabric of the system he had worked to uphold. Mayer told, "This is bigger than you think, Chief. We have to be careful with how we handle this. I don't need to remind you of how far-reaching these forces are." Chief Williams, sharply, "No, Mayor, you don't get to play this down. You don't get to sweep it under the rug anymore. The truth is out there, and I'm not backing down. You need to decide, right now, whether you're going to stand by this department or if you're going to protect the people behind all of this." Mayor told, "I need time, Chief. You've stirred the pot, but I don't know if we can afford to take this any further. The political fallout—" Chief Williams, interrupting, cutting him off. "We're past the political fallout. Jasmine's life is at stake, and so are the lives of others who have been caught in this mess. You can't stay silent anymore." The tension between them reached its breaking point. Chief Williams' words had cut through the mayor's defenses, but what would be the cost of this confrontation? What would happen if the mayor truly chose to stand by the system that was so deeply compromised? What if he chose the easy way out, leaving Chief Williams exposed, vulnerable? With the truth beginning to surface, the first cracks in the system were showing. But what would happen when those cracks began to spread? What would the people who had been pulling the strings do when their carefully constructed web of deception started to unravel? Chief Williams was about to find out, and he wasn't sure if he was ready for the answer. Jasmine's fight for justice wasn't over, but she had made it through the darkest moment of her life. The road ahead was still uncertain, but at least now she had allies, people who were finally willing to stand up against the forces that sought to bury the truth. Chief Williams had made his choice, but the question remained: would the system allow him to expose the truth, or would it fight back with everything it had? The battle was far from over, and as the sun dipped below the horizon, so did the final thread of certainty. The fight for justice was just beginning, and neither side would back down. Do you think Jasmine will get the justice she deserves, or will the system continue to fight back? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to stay updated on this unfolding story.